You are listening to Business Heroine Radio for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine, and today our beautiful cover girl is JoN Williams. Welcome, JoN.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really exciting to be here.
Yes, well, I cannot wait to share more about you and everything you're up to and all of your business wisdom for our heroines that are tuning in. So for those of you listening, let me tell you a little bit about JoN. JoN founded JA Williams Law P.C. in 2011, and it was really to provide artists, entertainers, and this generation's thought leaders with ways to successfully navigate their careers and provide assistance with business, internet, entertainment, and intellectual property matters. So her clients have written best-selling books, created award-winning blogs, been nominated for Grammys, listed in the Billboard Top 100, and have received international acclaim. So JoN has her fingers in some super interesting stuff. I can't wait to hear all of your perspective, JoN. Thanks again for being here. And let's jump in with I would love to hear your story. How did you end up being a lawyer and in this particular vein of law?
Yeah, well, actually, what happened to me was very, very early in my life. I was interested in being in the arts. My entire family's in the arts. My mom was a record promoter. And, music was what my passion was and what I wanted to pursue. And I went forth with doing that. And I was, performing, and I was creating lyrics and working with different artists and working with, different producers and things like that. And the entire time I was told that I would be credited and compensated, for what I was doing at that time. And that never happened. And what ended up happening was that I was hearing my voice on people's songs and in my lyrics and things like that, but no credit was being given to me. And it was really, it was really early in my life. Like, I was only a teenager at the time. So I didn't understand specifically what I needed to do in order to protect myself. I knew that there was something inherently wrong with what happened to me, but I didn't know how to solve it at the time. Mm-hmm. And I realized so many new artists and so many young artists go through the same kind of thing. They're really excited about the industry and really excited about getting their voice out there. And then they end up getting, burned in some type of way. And, and we end up losing a lot of incredible art and artists as a result. And so what happened is I didn't realize that was kind of like my first introduction into wanting to just help and empower people. And I kind of went from in that world to doing different types of jobs within the arts and entertainment industry. And so I was a manager. I ran my own event planning company for 11 years. I have also been a coach for and a business advisor for artists and creative people. And I still do that today. And now I realized in my 20s that I really wanted to know what was the thing that really held all of this together, and how is it that artists would be protected, and how, it ended up becoming creative people and then entrepreneurs as well, because all of this is creativity. And so I was like, how do people actually protect themselves and use the law to help them and not harm them? Because the law is what holds all of this together. And, the next natural step of that would be to jump into law school and to learn it, so that I could kind of be kind of like jumping in on the inside and, learning the tools and the things and bringing them to the people. So that was
I love it.
that was my story. And that's why I do the work that I do today. And it's really important to me to make sure that people understand what they need to do to just empower their journey, because once you have that solid foundation underneath you, then you feel free. One of my coaches said, he pays attorneys so that he can sleep at night, so that he knows that his stuff is protected, and he knows that he can put it out in the world in a bigger way and not worry about, any type of legal issues that will come up as a result. And so it's my job on the planet to really help entrepreneurs and people who want to get their creative ideas out in the world, help them to understand how the law can help them and not harm them.
Wow. I really love that. And what I love about your story is, I've noticed the more business heroines that I talk to and that I interview, it's so many women are creating businesses that are basically the whole reason behind the business comes from passion or some kind of journey where there was pain and coming out on the other side. And so it's interesting because your avenue into law wasn't like, I don't know, just like the stuffy sort of, I'm going to go to law school and become a lawyer. It was like you're an artist and there's this passion and you got taken advantage of. And so now wanting to give back in that way and recognizing the power that the law has and how that can protect entrepreneurs and artists and creative people so that the work that they're doing isn't snatched away from them. And it's just really inspiring. I love the motivation behind what you do.
Yeah, and I think about it like this is one thing that I think people don't think about quite a bit, and the law holds everything together. When you think about it, it's like spiritual law, laws of the land, laws of the universe, and law holds everything together, and so it's really if you break the law, then there's ramifications, and the law it's the foundation of everything. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to get to the core of how all of this stuff works and how it all stays put together, and how is it that I can help people understand that it doesn't have to be a scary thing. Like you need to have skilled professionals helping you, but when you have those people in place, like you should be able to sleep at night. Like you should be able to know that you can put your work out in the world and not worry about being taken advantage of. And I think that a lot of times people shy away from the law because they're really afraid, like they're afraid of the unknown, because most people don't understand legal language. So exactly. Right. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, yes, you might not understand it, but it's your responsibility and your job to go and to get advisors that do understand it so that they can help you. Because, I don't know all the tax law. I'm not a tax lawyer, so I don't know everything that has to do with tax, but you better believe I'm going to get a really skilled CPA to help me navigate through that language. And I'm not going to run away from it simply because I don't understand it, because I know that there are two things that a business owner has to do. They have to pay taxes and they have to abide by the law. So that being said, it's not something that if you're a business owner, you can get away from. So you might as well just embrace it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. And a question for you, because I imagine that, it can be this whole intimidating world. It's like this whole other language and legalese, and I don't even know what I don't know kind of thing. But, I have a feeling that a lot of early stage entrepreneurs, those emerging entrepreneurs, there's a shoestring budget, and it's also like, I'm just getting off the ground. When is the right timing, in your opinion, to get acquainted with law, or at least to bring a lawyer on your team? And at what stage of your business is that critical?
I think that the most important time to bring a lawyer onto your team is from the moment that you decide, I have an idea, and you're ready to throw it out in the world and receive money for it. So from the, you might have ideas that, you might have a full-time job. You've been sitting on a few ideas for quite some time, and you're trying to figure out what direction that you want to go in. Okay, yes, you wouldn't be bringing in a lawyer at that point. But the minute you decide to take money for what you're doing, you need to have two people on your team, a lawyer and a tax advisor. So from there, there are ways to work with a lawyer that won't kind of, do damage to your pocket. But you also got to realize that, you're going to have to invest, just like you have to invest in coaching, just like you have to invest in your website, just like you have to invest in your own development. You're going to have to invest the foundational pieces of your business. And that's just a fact. So that being said, you can, pay to talk to a lawyer and just ask them specific questions, like can I have an hour of your time? And you can sit down and kind of map out what it is that you need to do, get the cost of what it is, and then go and work to get the money to take care of the things that you need. There are some lawyers who charge less for, if you have templates that are workable, they'll take those templates and they will edit them for you, and it won't be as expensive as having them draft from scratch. There are other services like Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts, which is a organization that connects you with lawyers that might be out of your price range normally, but if you meet their income requirements, you can actually get those lawyers. The lawyers that might be charging $400 or $500 an hour, you get them for free, or you get them for a low cost. So there are options, but so you can't just kind of make the excuse of I can't afford it. It's really about, how can I make this happen? Not I can't make this happen.
Mm-hmm. So, as you know, the tagline for Business Heroine, it's the entrepreneur who says she will and does. So I have to say, you're totally embodying Business Heroine right now. It's like, no excuses, you say you're going to do it and you're going to do it. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. That's why I'm a cover girl.
That's right. That's right.
I love what you stand for. I love Business Heroine, and I love, what you stand for. And, just the word heroine itself is extremely powerful, because it's like you're being the hero of yourself. You don't have to save the entire world, but you're being the hero of you. And that's so incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. There's, it's a magical community. There's so many women out there who have dreams, and it's really about not letting yourself down anymore, and about, I'm going to do it. I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So simple as that. So you're a perfect model for that.
Thank you.
So Janae, yes, of course. So Janae, I'm curious, what are some of the possibilities that law opens up? I know that it's about staying protected, but I also know when it comes to intellectual property, for example, it's actually not just about protecting yourself from bad things happening. It actually opens up doors for really amazing good things to happen too. And there's income opportunities that occur when you are leveraging your intellectual property in smart ways. And I'm curious, whether it's some of your clients or other business, other business people that you've witnessed, what are some of the awesome creative ways intellectual property can be used to create an asset for your business?
Absolutely. I mean, so when you have intellectual property, let's just kind of go through the different types of intellectual property. There's copyright, which is basically protecting the creative expression of a particular work, and then there is trademark, which is protecting the name or the logo or the service mark that is attached to a particular product or service, and then there is patent, which protects the actual design and creation of something. So when you're looking at how is it that you can leverage it, there are a couple of different ways that people use to leverage their intellectual property. So, for example, when you have a trademark, you can license the use of that trademark to other companies. You can partner with other companies to pull together. So, for example, if you look at Danielle Laporte, she's partnering with a company called Dog-Eared, I believe, and they're putting out the different types of jewelry, right? So that's a way that you can leverage the intellectual property that you earn and partner with somebody and create a different business opportunity. Then you have the ability to sell your intellectual property. So let's just say you wanted to sell your your copyrights, or if you, for example, if you're a musician, if you're wanting to collect royalties, then you owning the actual intellectual property, the underlying work or the sound recording of a song, then you're actually, anytime it's played, you should be collecting royalties. So that's another way to monetize your intellectual property. If you decide to uh, sign with a company, and let's just say you're going to sell your company, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to move on, and you own the intellectual property, you can charge a premium for them actually acquiring the intellectual property. So because you own it, so it's like, okay, this is a part of the business, and I personally own it, and I'm going to sell it to you. So it just depends on what you're doing. Like, for example, a t-shirt company might want to use your logo, and then you can sell the rights or the license for your logo to them, for them to create their t-shirts. So
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of different ways that you can do it. It really just depends on what stage of business you're at and what it is that you kind of envision for yourself, what you would like to do. And also people create online programs and services and things like that, which is more of the typical way that people know how to leverage their own intellectual property. And it's really important to kind of to trademark the services, the names of the services that you have, or the names of your products that you put out in the world, and you're like, look, I definitely want to make sure that no one in the marketplace has something similar or confusingly similar to what it is that I put out there, and you want to be known. So, for example, Earn 1K on the side, which is Ramit Sethi's product. Nobody else in the market can own something like Earn 1K or Earn $1,000 on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because it's the same kind of thing. So just those are the different ways that you can leverage your intellectual property in order for you to monetize it and create more of a solid foundation for yourself as it relates to income.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. And it's what I'm really getting here is that this is taking the long-term view of your business and thinking bigger. It's like just the possibilities that you just painted. It's like, okay, I could be a business coach and work with people one-on-one, or I could think about positioning myself as a thought leader and getting smart with my intellectual property and aligning myself with big companies or big names. And it's like, that's really what makes the difference between someone who's just kind of the life coach on the block versus the person that's all over the media and has, programs and, products and all of that stuff there. So, what I'm hearing is for the dreamers, the big thinkers, the business heroines.
I love that. I love that. Exactly. You're like a life coach on the block versus like the woman or the person who's taking their business extremely seriously. And they're saying, look, I want to make sure that I'm making smart investments. And what I will say, though, is that if you're not sure about what you want the name of your company to be or what you want your products or services to be, it would not be a good idea for you to register intellectual property at that stage, because you can end up in a situation where you've invested a lot of money in things that you aren't going to use anymore. Like as you kind of grow into the second and third years of your business and you get more clear on your products, your services, or your what it is that you want to put out in the world as far as materials, that's when you start to really feel solid as to what your brand is going to be and what your messaging is and what you want to put out in the world. And then that's when the more specific ways that that you want to look at your intellectual property and how you want to put that out, that's when that comes about. So I think that just from the perspective of thinking at what stage of growth you are, the first thing that you want to do as a young entrepreneur is really to get like the foundations together for you bringing in money. So having an attorney, having a CPA, making sure that you have service agreement, making sure that you have a non-disclosure agreement, or if you're bringing on virtual assistants or team members, making sure you have some type of independent contractor agreement or an employee agreement, whatever your situation is. And then making sure that you have a proper business entity, like terms and conditions and privacy policy on your website. These are the kind of things that you're thinking about at the very beginning stages of your business. Like, okay, I need to just get the stuff that I need to get out of the door. And then as you kind of grow in business and you're thinking about adding different types of revenue streams, and then you're thinking about, oh, okay, maybe online programs or products, or, I'm thinking about adding a new or additional service, or I'm dropping an ebook or whatever, then those are more of like, okay, growth, and what you should be thinking about then, and, are, the different types of shopping cart terms you're going to have if you're having those on your website, or if you're finally growing to the point where you want to get employees and you're switching them from being independent contractors to employees. These are the kind of things you're thinking about at that stage. And if you're at the 7-figure, 8-figure business range, you also want to think about at that growth stage, intellectual property. And okay, now I know what my programs and services are going to be. Like, now I want to start thinking about trademarks and things like that. Now I have some more revenue coming through. Then as you grow, you're thinking more about protecting what it is that you've already created. So you're thinking more about, okay, having a lawyer on your team consistently, so that then you can go and, you might need to be sending off cease and desist letters at that point, because, there are people that are out there trying to copy you because you're so awesome. Right. And you're thinking more about how is it that you're going to create different partnerships? How are you going to grow your business? Where are you going to invest your money? And what are the smart places for you to do that? And from a legal perspective, now you're looking at bigger, maybe bigger products or bigger services, or more, or you might be having customer issues, because a lot of times when you get to that level and you're having 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 people buying your products and services, then you're running into refund issues, or, maybe people are not, they're not paying, or so you got to collect on their stuff. So, it's just, there are different issues at every level, but you need to have legal counsel at every level as well.
So, and thank you for breaking it down level by level too, because for those who are tuning in who all of a sudden just got a little overwhelmed, like, oh crap, I'm a big fan of you just getting in the game, and you will cross, when you get around the corner, the next thing will be there, and then the next thing will be there. So whatever stage you're at, it's like just getting in the game, finding out what you need to know is really the first step. Like, find out what you need to know for where you're at right now, and keeping it simple, and just taking that first step.
Absolutely. And the thing is like, don't be overwhelmed. If you have a guide, business can be overwhelming just in general, because there's so many things for you to think about. And that's why it's so important to invest in having a guide, because they're going to tell you specifically what you need to be focusing on at every stage. And having a business guide, having a legal guide, having a tax advisor, these are the people that are so important and key to your business, because if you want to set yourself up for success, you need to have trusted advisors that will tell you, okay, this is what you need to be thinking about right now. And then you don't have to think about it anymore. You're not spinning your wheels worried about, oh, should I be doing this, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. You have people that are like, hey, plug in here. Okay. Just do this thing. And that's it. Don't worry about the other stuff right now. And that's what I do with my clients anyway. I'm like, you don't need to be thinking about that right now. Stay on track.
Yeah.
Because it'll come.
It's kind of like that, we talked about at the beginning, is like, okay, so I don't want to reach out to get, legal support because it's overwhelming. It's like, that's actually why to get legal support, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And let the person who's gone to law school and studied it all hold that space for you, so you can shine on.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to sit around figuring out QuickBooks. I have a bookkeeper for that. That's not the best use of your time. Like, your best use of your time is being awesome and putting out your, creative energy in the world, and like thinking about, the development of your business, and, and making the connections and the relationships that will keep your business flourishing and growing. It's not the best use of your time trying to figure out how to input your receipts. It's not the best
Yes.
use of your time to be thinking about what legally needs to be in my contract. Like,
Mhm.
leave that to the professionals. Just find good ones that can help you.
Okay, so I feel like this needs to be tweeted. It was like, the best use of your time is like, leave it to the professionals. The best use of your time is to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to use that.
Yeah. It's awesome. So now that you are on, you've gone to law school, you actually are an advocate and an empowerer of artists and entrepreneurs. If you knew back when you were, an artist and getting your lyrics stolen and your voice was being used, and if you knew then what you know now, what would you have done differently, or how would have the outcome turned out differently?
That's a good question. I think that what I would have done before is got assurances. Like, I would have gotten it in writing,
Mhm.
and been really specific about what I was going to be doing in the studio, versus it being just kind of like a free for all where it's like, oh, just come in and sing this one thing, or, oh, can you write this here? I would have been a lot more specific about what I was assenting to, and I would have
Mhm.
gotten it in writing. But I also have compassion for that young girl who was so incredibly excited to just jump out there into the world and put her creativity out there, and
Mhm.
just be out there and do her thing. So I have a lot of compassion for that girl. And
Yeah.
also at the same time, I know that I would have definitely done things differently had I known what would have happened on the next level of that, the next stage of that. But the flip side of that is that I wouldn't probably be here today if
Exactly.
that would have happened. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's all perfect. It was like, it was
mhm.
your unique curriculum that brought you to where you are,
I like
which
that.
now, yeah, now you are sprinkling your magic on all the other entrepreneurs and artists out there. Something that I just love to geek out about is that it just takes all kinds, to
It
make the
does.
world go round. And we don't have to figure it all out. We don't have to be good at everything. That's why we have each other. And business isn't meant to be done in a silo. Business is meant to be done in community, and that's just what works. And Jonay, I love how you broke it down to like the 3 guides you need. And it's a business guide, so that's what looks like a business coach or business training programs kind of thing.
Mhm.
The legal guide, and then a tax guide. So that's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just say, like, I just look at it from a really holistic standpoint. Like, I'm Buddhist, and so I look at, okay, there is no good or bad. I think that it all
Mhm.
serves a purpose. So, even if it feels horrible in a particular moment, and you obviously have compassion for yourself or whomever it is that's going through that particular thing, and at the same time know that our spirits are so incredibly powerful and strong, and you're here for a reason, and you would not be here if you weren't meant to be here. And so you're going to make it to the other side, and when you do, you will see why you went through all of that stuff, and positivity in your life that is bringing you to at this point. So
I love that. Can I just point out to everyone right now that we have on our hands here an artist, Buddhist, lawyer.
we are multifaceted, okay? Like,
I love it.
sit in, like,
No, it's so great.
tall buildings with law books all day.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. The world is a changing. It's so great. It's so
Yeah.
great. I love it.
Definitely.
So, Janae, how can our listeners and readers get more of you? What can they discover when they come to your website, for example?
Yes. So if they come to my website, then which is at jwilliamslaw.com, you can sign up for my newsletter. I usually send out weekly legal strategies, and
Hmm.
also you'll get a free gift. It's called the Brand Protection Guide: the top 10 ways to legally protect your content online and beyond. So,
Mm.
so you can get that free guide, and it'll tell you all the ways that you can go about protecting your brand as you're growing it into the vast awesomeness that it's going to be one day. So,
I love it. And I just want to circle back to what we were talking about earlier is taking all that overwhelm and just going, okay, all I need to do is get in the game and take the first step. So I love
yes.
actually what you are offering, this the 10 ways or the 10 things you need to know about protecting your brand online. Perfect starting point. Also perfect starting point, getting that newsletter with legal, information every single week. So it's kind of like whether you end up working with JoN or whether you end up working with somebody else, that is gold from our artist Buddhist lawyer friend. So that's awesome. Thank you.
I love you, Anne. You're so hilarious. But thank you very much. Like, yeah, and hopefully, it will help you and give you some clarity. And I also, if you can tell, I speak in a very conversational way. So, the guide is like that as well. There isn't a bunch of crazy legalese in there. It's more just, conversational speak of like, hey, hey, I'm a good friend, trusted advisor, and here's some things that you need to know.
Yeah. Oh, I so appreciate that. That's just awesome. So before we let you go, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for the emerging entrepreneurs, the new business heroines who are kind of, peeking into this world of Technicolor business, whether from a legal perspective or just a business friend to business friend, anything that you want to leave our heroines with?
Yeah, I would just say two things. I'll just say you were meant to put your work out in the world, because if it wasn't in you, if it wasn't supposed to come out of you, then it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't in you. It wouldn't be in you. So that's the first thing, and just never, 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 ever give up. So, have you ever seen that little cartoon of there's like the two guys, and one of them is just about to strike gold, and then he like walks away, and then the other guy is like, he keeps on digging and he's going to eventually get to the gold. That's what I think about that all the time. Like anytime I felt discouraged or felt like I wanted to just kind of hang it up because it was hard, I just thought, you know what, you're right at that gold. You're right there, and you'll never see it if you give up. So never give up, and just know that you were meant to put that creative idea out in the world, because if you weren't, then it wouldn't be in you.
I love that. That's another one to tweet. You're meant to put your work out in the world. If it weren't meant to come out of you, it wouldn't have been
be in you. Yeah, exactly.
You can fix my grammar. I don't know.
I was gonna say,
exactly
I
correctly,
stumbled on that too.
I'm like, weren't, wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, we trying to be all Yoda up in here, but yeah, they'll get it.
Yes, getting all Yoda up in here. That's how we roll. I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much, JoN, for your wisdom today, for making the cover of Business Heroine magazine look beautiful, and for being all Yoda up in here. Love it.
Thank you so much. And it was it's really, really great to be here. And thank you for inviting me for this awesome opportunity. It's incredibly inspiring what you do, and I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you for putting your gifts out in the world, because I know that you're touching and helping a lot of people. So thank you as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you, heroines, for tuning in, and thank you for being awesome. And we will see you next time. Bye.
You have been listening to Business Heroine Radio, for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.